All right, here we go. It's another wonderful morning. Got some exciting stuff to do today. It's Friday. Trying to knock this workday out so I can start up a wonderful day. I trapped myself into having yet another Saturday that I'm spending with a friend, which isn't necessarily bad, but I just need a weekend to myself. I really need to change my oil this weekend, which I might do that on Sunday. Might take the camera out and get some videos in on Sunday as well. I need to get the tools here in-house to change my own oil. I think the only thing I'm missing is a jack, honestly. But I think that would be a fun video to film with you guys instead of all these driving videos all the time. But maybe hopefully get some new, interesting, different stuff filmed for you. I really gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with these in terms of like promoting these videos, because they are getting absolutely nowhere. And so yeah, it's been a good day so far. I spent a good chunk of time yesterday trying to figure out what my compound interest looks like for this account that I just set up. And granted, it's oops, stuff's falling over. Granted, I don't know if I'm doing the math correctly or not. And so it's saying that it compounds its interest at 5.18 a month. And so my thought process was, if I multiply that by 1.0518, then that will figure out how much I will get based on my interest. And so I've been using that calculation to figure out how much I'll get per month. And then I was trying to figure out how much I would get in a year versus how much I would get in, say, 10 or 15 years, because I'm looking to retire in 15 years. And it skyrocketed up to a pretty huge amount. And I'm not sure if my calculations are correct or not, because I'm like, if it were that simple, then like everybody would be able to do this, right? Like, why isn't the whole world doing this if it were that simple? And so it made me second guess my math. And so then I was looking up equations on how to calculate compound interest, and I found a pretty common equation, but it was not at all. I feel like my car is acting weird right now. But the equation was not at all what I had. Well, it wasn't that it was not at all what I had thought. It was just complicated. And then the numbers that I was coming up with were less impressive than the numbers that I had been coming up with. And so I was like, okay, something is wrong here. Either I'm mathing completely wrong on this equation, or I am mathing completely wrong on my initial assessment. And of course, like, the person who was doing the math did not actually, didn't actually have like a situation that fit mine. And so like, he was doing it based on yearly, and he was saying if the interest accrues yearly, then you would get this much. And his numbers were incredibly low. But like I said, I feel like he was also doing different accrual rates than I actually have, because he was doing like bigger interest rates than mine, but for longer periods of time. Like, he was doing quarterly, and then he was doing yearly. And so what I was thinking was that I'm thinking that he was doing it at a different term rate, because mine is monthly, so I should have it 12 times, and he was just doing it one times. So that could be a reason why the compound interest formula was not working for me either. But I've never been like big on math. I like running numbers and I like seeing what things look like. And when I was running the numbers in a way that made sense to me, it was all well and good. But when I started running numbers in their formulas and stuff, it stopped adding up and it stopped making sense. And so now I'm trying to figure out what numbers I need to run. And so with that, I will probably just leave the account alone for the first month and just see, because I have the estimation, if I'm doing my math correctly, I have the estimation of how much interest I will earn on this account once the first month is done. And so at that point, I will assess whether or not my math was right. And because that's what it's going to come down to, is whether or not my math is correct. And so I'm probably just going to leave it alone, see what it does physically after a month or so. And if my calculations are correct, the magic number I'm looking for is 259. So if by March 15th I've got 259 in this new bank account, then my numbers are right and things are looking up. But if by, say, March 15th I don't have nearly as much as I say I'm supposed to, then my numbers are down and I'm not looking so hot. And I don't understand, like the bank account, they said that it compounds interest daily, but then you have to try and factor up how much interest you get every day, because I doubt it's 5.18 a day. That just seems astronomically insane. And so at any rate, I'm gonna just leave it alone, let it do its thing, and then we'll see next month, come back to it next month and see what I'm at. Like I said, the number, by my estimation, should be 259. And if it is above or below that, then I will adjust accordingly. If it's above it, like, oh my gosh, this is even better than I thought it was going to be. But hopefully it's right on the money. And then I can figure out what I need to do, start making other movements for other plans, things like that. And of course, like, the interest rates are constantly fluctuating, so I've got to do battle with that and figure out, like, okay, if the interest rate moves, is it still worth my time? My thought process on the matter is, so long as it's above 3%, it's worth your time, because 3% is roughly what the cost of living is every year. And so that's why, like, most employers will give a blanket 3% raise, because you get a cost of living raise every year. But it's not really a raise, it's the cheapest ploy ever. Like, it looks like you're making more money, but it's absorbed by the cost of living. And so, like, a real raise would have to be more than 3%. Like 5% would be an actual raise, because then you're actually making more money. And if you just stay with a job perpetually for 20 years making 3% raises the entire time, then you don't actually ever grow with that employer, and you never actually gain any, like, actual financial movement. Like, you're pretty much just staying where you are upon hire. And every position and every job is like that, like the job I'm in right now. And that's why when I took this job, I refused to be on the bottom of their pay scale, because I was like, if you're on the bottom, you stay on the bottom. You take 3% every year, and that's going to just make you continue to stay where you are in relevance to where you were when you were hired. So being at 3% of the bottom tier just means you're going to ride the bottom until you finally promote up again. And so the hope here being that I can just keep it in a high yield savings account that remains over the 3% threshold. And that's like the APY. The AP, of course, you have the interest that you earn every month, and then your I don't remember what they call it, something year yield or something. But at any rate, finances have been the name of the game. My brain is always bouncing around and talking about different things. I've got a lot of things going on. I'm a multifaceted human being, and I think that's part of the reason why it makes it hard for the algorithm to figure out where to put me, because I'm not going to sit here and talk about my books all day every day. I'm not going to sit here and talk about cooking all day every day. I'm not going to sit here and talk about music all day every day. I have a multi-layered amount of interests and multiple things that I find to be interesting, and I'm not going to just sit down and drive to work every day and only talk to you guys about one thing. I'm trying to look at this building. It looks new and I can't tell what it is, but it's also on the opposite side of the highway, so it's hard to look over at it. At any rate, so yeah, I'm going to talk about whatever the heck is on my mind when I'm driving to work on this particular day. And right now, it's finances, because I just had this meeting with a financial advisor. He's given me a lot of good advice, or good ideas, I should say. He's made it very clear that he is not giving me advice. He's giving me ideas. And now I need to commit to trying to get his ideas going, all the while trying to also do all this stuff with my my billboard goes up Monday, so as of Monday I should be able to go see my billboard. Let's see what else happens. I'm going to start editing my next editor will see my novel in March. She's planning to be done with it by April, which is honestly kind of yuck, but whatever. I was hoping to get the book in people's hands by May, but if it takes her till the end of April is what she said actually, then that still puts me kind of right on the money. And then I can get it in sample readers' hands in May, and then I can get it into my other editor's hands shortly thereafter, and then I can still probably push it out for an October release. And then I gotta figure out what I'm doing the following January. If I want to release something in January, it's gonna have to be Healers, and that's pushing it mighty close with an October release. I wanted to average 2 a year, but I realistically should probably give myself 1 a year, because like this year, the only reason why I have 2 is because I skipped last year, and so I'm thinking if I do doubles again, then I'll skip. And that's what I think. The year before last year, 22, was the first year that I put 2 out. And so it's like if I put 2 out every other year, then it's the same thing as putting 1 out every year. And I'm not really doing any better at that point. So I should really look at putting out just 1 a year. And then if I get to the point where I'm writing enough to where I can comfortably, because what I would need to do is I'd have to be in like this situation plus 1 book. Like I've released a book already. I've got 1 completely done and ready for launch, and I've got another one in the editing stages. That's what I would really need to do to average 2 books a year. And because I'm trying to think, 20 would have been because I think 22 was Healers 2 and Dusty Little Wastelanders. I think both of those came out the same year. And then I know Dusty Little Wastelanders came out in October of whatever year it was released. I'm thinking it's 22. Because I'm fairly certain I didn't actually release a book in 23. I wrote several books in 23. I didn't launch them because I was trying to do the traditional publishing route. And I also did Wig. I feel like Wig was in 22 as well, though. I feel like it's been a couple years since I did Wig. And so it's like either 22 was an insanely busy year, or I did something in 23 that I'm just forgetting about. And maybe it was Wig. And I can remember... I'll have to look, because I usually date everything that I write for this very moment, for this very purpose, so that I can look back at it and be like, oh, that. But I date it the day that I started writing it. I don't date it the day it was published, so that doesn't necessarily help me. But I can find publication dates easy enough. And the thing with Wig is, like, I think a lot of those episodes that I was writing them the day that they were due. And, like, I was giving myself my own studio deadlines, so to speak. And so I was writing these episodes on the fly. And some of them are better than others. And it felt like writing a TV show, which is fine. But I need to figure out how to get places and go places and do things. At any rate. So yeah, that is what's going on. I'm going to be watching like a hawk my finances and hopefully continue on track through the rest of this month and then into May, because May is the next kind of big thing on the horizon for me. I'm tracking pretty well this month so far. I'm not doing too terribly bad this month, and so I'm hoping that I can stay on track this month and then move right along next month with what needs to happen, and then move into April and kind of button up things, and then April going into May I can just live and do whatever the heck I feel like doing in May. And then I'll have to calm it down come June and do a level set. And that's just the important thing, is like when I do these crazy spending furies, like I like to not have to think about spending money, but I don't know that I can exist without thinking about it. And so I don't want to spend so much that I then have to do what I'm doing now, which is spending all this time regrouping and recouping and trying to figure out what I need to do to get back to where I need to be. And so hopefully I think by the end of this month I'll be pretty good. If I keep on track with how I've been doing with this month, then I think I'll be fine by the end of next month. And then I just need to maintain. So, yeah, it has been a wonderful, awesome day. It's Friday. Let's go out there and make it a great one. I'll see you guys on my way back home.